All right, guys. Hey, Paul McClain here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. And I'm excited. We got a true guest on today that's going to make a big difference for you and making this week better than last week. We got the president of Family First Life, Shawn Meaike, on. Thank you for joining, man.
Thanks for having me, Paul. I'm really excited to be in the studio. I've never been in the studio here.
Well, dude, good to have you in the studio here, man. The studio's better because you're here.
Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate it.
You got it, man. Well, hey, guys, just before we get into this, what I want to make sure to remind you of every single week, we go through and whoever comments, we pull out, and the person that we run, do the drawing, they get $250 in lead credits. So make sure to comment below, like it, subscribe, turn on notifications, because our goal is every single week to bring the best content to you. So that way, it's value based, and you can go out there and produce at a higher level, build a business at a higher level, and just see a higher level in your career. So as we get into this, Shawn, I know that going back day one, we knew each other prior,
correct,
to Family First Life starting. What I consider you, man, you made such a big difference on my business, how I see things. Really how I've lived my life, whether that's parenting, relationships, not to get deep on a Monday morning at 7 a.m., but you made a big impact for me. And when you started Family First Life, you kind of pioneered a different way. I think that the insurance industry, you've said it was like muddled with mediocrity, that people were just doing it a certain way. It was kind of this tradition that everybody just did it this way. When somebody started a new IMO, they started it kind of the same way. And when you started the company, you started it completely different than how everybody was doing it, which was really refreshing because, I think the way everybody's always been doing it has left a bad taste in many people's mouth that could have had great success, but the wrong vehicle. When you looked at Family First Life and creating the company, what kind of gave you that vision, that desire, the passion to start something new and start it differently than something that had been started before in this industry?
Well, it's funny because for the last 70 years, that's what everybody did. Like, they'd work at a company, they'd complain about it. They didn't like the low comp. They didn't like the fees. They didn't like they weren't making money. They didn't like that part. And then they would go out and say to people, we should go start another company. And the people would go and they would just recreate the model. And really all they were saying was, I wanted to be at the top of the pyramid. I mean, it's really, they could say it, spin it however they want. It was, I didn't like the model because I wasn't at the top. And I think also I had the very unique opportunity that, I sold life insurance every week for every year I was in the business. Like, so I've said, if you're going to run one of these companies, I think it should be a requirement. Obviously can't, but it really should be a requirement that the person's been out in the field. Because if you've not been out in the field, how the hell do you know what people are going through? And the answer is you don't. You're pretending you do, and you don't know what they're going through. So to understand the mindset of the clients and the agents, that's easier if you've been out there. But if you haven't, it's like, so I think for us, we also knew it was going to be hard. I mean, it's kind of funny because, I remember the biggest thing people would say about us the first couple of years was, people would call me and go, hey, Shawn, so-and-so at so-and-so's company says, we won't make it 3 years. And I'm thinking, dude, we might not make it 3 more months. I'm thinking to myself, right? I mean, it was just tight, but it was like, and I'd be like, what do they know? They know nothing. And I just knew that if we kept working, we'd get through. Was it a guarantee? No, it was tight. I mean, there was days, weeks, months that the money was really, really tight. I had the benefit of having been in real estate for a long time, so I actually had a friend of mine who you've met, Shawn, who now drives truck for me. He's great. So you collect the rent, and like I needed the rent to get into the bank to then buy leads, so it would get like, because most of the people would do like, hey, you can pay by the 10th. Now we don't get down that way. We didn't back in the day real estate. It's like, you can pay by the 1st. We ain't asking.
Right.
And Big Shawn wasn't playing. Like, he was like, he's 6'6",
definitely not mess with Big Shawn.
275. No, he was getting his rent. Right. One way, I'm just trust you was getting rent. And I needed it. It was like, I need it. And I can remember, like, it was like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? You're just taking money from here, putting it in here, you're making sure you're paying your bills, you're taking care of your kids. But it was a struggle. But we never, ever, the two choices, Paul, were that we're give it everything we got the way we've planned it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Or we deviate and become everybody else. We weren't going to do that. And by the way, when you do it the way we did it, it's very hard for us, for you, for the person who's doing it for the company. I mean, we built the company. There's a bunch of us that worked really hard at the beginning. Did everybody work as hard at the beginning? No. I mean, talk about relationships. That's like, be honest with people. And a guy asked me the other day, he's like, well, I just don't think you think I have a good work ethic. I'm like, you don't. I mean, do you want me to tell you that you do? And then I don't think you have a good work ethic. I'm not mad at you, but you don't work hard. I mean, for me to tell you that you work hard and then you don't do well, I'm hurting you. Like, why wouldn't I? And I'm not doing it to be gratuitous or be mean. You don't work hard, you know? So I think for us, it was a struggle, but there was never discussion. And people that started that discussion, Paul, that were with us at the beginning didn't last. And because they would just continue to go like, you don't understand. I'm like, no, I definitely understand. No, we need to charge lead override. You know, we need to charge X amount of dollars for this every month. We need to charge, and I'm like, dude, we're not doing that. Like, and by the way, it was our money. Like, it didn't affect their bank account at all. But they just somehow thought, well, if we can do this and make some money on that, we can get X amount of money. I'm like, let's just build a company where we only make money if the agents make money. Like, the agents have to make money first or we don't make any money. The spreads aren't big enough for us to make money unless people are really successful. We don't have any other way to make money. Let's just have it very symbiotic where you make money, we make money. You don't, we don't. You know what I mean? And I think that, and a little bit of a lot, that whole concept, a little bit of a lot, made a lot of sense to me. And I knew that it would be a struggle. I can remember showing the insurance carriers the comp plan. And I had a guy's around for a while, and he kind of pulled me aside. He said, are you sure you're all keeping enough? And I said, I'm pretty sure. And he said, well, I wish you the best of luck. Can you show me why you believe it'll work? And I showed him the vision. Like you didn't need to have 37 people direct to you. Like, you could back 4 people up by 4 people and help everybody make money around you, minimize the liability, help empower the agents, and have a very profitable business. But it wasn't going to be profitable in 2 days, because big spread is great until it charges back. Right. And that's what I think people don't understand. And again, we also understood, you know, last thing I was saying this, Paul, is we understood the psychology of an override. What I mean by that is, if you hire me and anytime I sell something, you get paid on it, I'm totally cool with it if you work. Like, if you work, I'm totally, like, I'm proud. And I think this is for most people. I think I'm not going to be frustrated or take you for granted as long as you're working. We may not get along and everything. We may not see eye to eye. But if you're working, you'll have earned most people's respect, okay? The problem in this industry is guys will get 10, 12 people on their team. They don't work hard, and they want to make X amount of points on them. And then those people they go from familiarity breeds contempt. They become contemptuous towards them. Then they just dislike them. Now, when I got hired in the business, the guy that hired me did nothing. So after like 9 days, I was like, dude, you have to stop telling me what to do. You don't do nothing. Then he's like, well, it's not the way it works. I'm like, that's the way it works for me. I'm a grown man. Tell me one more time how to do it. I'm going to come to your office in East Hartford. I know where it is, on Godwin Street. And I'm going to go there personally. And you and I can discuss it in the parking lot of your little office. Leave me alone. And he did. Then the guy above him called me and he's like, hey, I was like, you don't sell nothing either. You don't work. Leave me alone. You don't work. You don't do anything. You work like an hour a week. You don't hire nobody. You don't sell nothing. You hired me. And you're all trying to, like, you're excited because I'm selling a bunch. Leave me alone. And I thought people understood that, but they didn't. So I never wanted anybody to think that they were working harder than me. And I always wanted to feel like we earned every single dollar the company made. Like, if we made $1 and we found a way to get the money from the insurance carriers, not the agents. It's a really simple concept. We were playing for big numbers. Right. Our deal was, we're going to get really big numbers and then work with the carriers on what they can give us so we can build an infrastructure, do all that. And that's how we got to the integrity deal. We got where a lot of other people got, and we don't have the spreads they have, where we knew what infrastructure stuff we needed after 5 years. We knew where we were stuck. We knew where we had this lid, and we didn't have the capital to do the things we wanted to do. So we had to seek it. And had it not been for integrity, we wouldn't have partnered with anybody, because everybody else that wanted to partner with us wanted to change the way we did it, because all they see is dollar signs. Well, and they don't understand the business. Like, let's just make more spread, drop these guys over here, do this. Well, number one, I'll never do that. So that's what I was told them all. I will never do any of that. So if you tell me to do it, you got to deal with me. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? And like, my history is I'm not afraid to breach, like, stuff I sign. So like, I'm not trying to be funny, but like, if you're going to do it that way, just make sure we're all on the same page. And integrity is like, y'all run a great business. We're going to let you run your business. We have great infrastructure. We just want to make sure y'all doing it right. Do it right by the clients and keep growing. If you keep growing, life is good. And that's been unbelievable for us. So I think, Paul, we've stayed very true to who we are. And I think that's the thing I'm the proudest of. You were to say, what are you the proudest of? I'm proud that we stayed the course. And to be honest, we didn't ever come close to deviating. We would joke around every once in a while. It would just get tough, and Sizer would be like, dude, I'm like, hey, I told you, it's either going to be a smash and success, or we're going to go down in a ball of flames, bro. But either way, it's going to be big. And I meant it. Like, if we go down in a blaze of glory, we gave it hell. And thankfully, we come out the other side, and you look what people are. You know, I was looking at something the other day. I'm thinking like, and I mean, just one company, right, size Amazon. They make like $800,000 a minute or something obnoxious gross profit. But then you start looking at the amount of people that any of these major companies have making 250 grand above. And I'm like, look at the size of our company and the amount of people we have make. I mean, we could actually rival against a lot of companies everybody talks about every day as far as high income earners.
Right.
So we generate more wealth for the people that work with us, not a couple stockholders and you know, board members and the CEO of the company. Like the average person here, like some of those guys that make the kind of money, the average salary is 29 grand.
Right.
So if our average salary is 175, we're changing lives. And you can't do that structuring it the other way. So we weren't looking to do what everybody else is doing. And we still are the only one that does it this way. 7 years later, if you were asking me the thing I'm the most surprised about, I'm a big duplicator. If something's working for somebody, I follow it. So like our mission to 400 offices was we saw other companies having success with brick and mortar places for people to go. We didn't fight that. We're like, okay, they're doing that. It seems to be working for them. Let's do that. So I'm just shocked that people haven't kind of said, hey, that model is going to work, but they realize it's a lot of work.
Right.
See, it is a lot of work. And it's a lot of work for you running it. It's not, the agents, I think, got better leads, better comp. So it may not be as much work, but for you running it, it's going to be tough and it's going to be a lot of work. It's been a lot of work. I've never worked harder in my life. And again, I've, you know, roofed houses and cut down trees and chop wood, you know, plumbed houses. That's a lot harder physically, you know, but I've never put more hours in any given week doing anything in my life. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, dude, I think for one, if anybody watching this doesn't have more passion after that statement of how many people are making 200 grand plus with Family First Life compared to all these other different companies, I mean, I don't know if the motives are right to lead you to the success that you need to have. I mean, Shawn, the crazy thing, man, looking back and kind of my process in this business, I was a product of where I came from. And so even though Family First Life, like you were doing it differently, I kind of separated myself from how you were doing it and how I was going to continue to do it. So I was going to go out there and work 100 hours a week, sell a bunch of insurance. But in my mind, it was like, well, I worked to get here, so everybody else is just going to work to get here too. It's completely the antithesis of how you envisioned Family First Life and how you were going to build it, which really in my mind was always built in love, which is like putting the long-term of somebody before yourself, the long-term best interest of them before anything else. And which was a whole, I love when you said, like, you know, how much can I give and survive, not how much can I give and get away with. And my business changed when I finally spent enough time with you and having enough conversations where I was like, okay, I got it. Like, I understand, like, biblically, like, how that's right, but I never even connected it to, like, this business. Like, if I just give the highest comp and give 5 points below where I'm at and go out and just do what I'm doing, they're going to do the same thing. And I'm going to create a culture of love and generosity and making a difference and people working hard, and it's going to pop. And now I think one of the biggest differences that Family First Life has now than it did 5 years ago is that when people come on board now, everybody's doing it that way. They're replicating what you did in the beginning, and they're just giving out as much as they possibly can, working like a dog, selling and building, but giving low spreads, you know, giving as high as they can, and then that's just allowing more volume to come, and then it pops when you finally get over that. And I was just thinking about that as you're talking, like I kind of went through that process, and that might have been one of the breakthrough moments I had, was when I finally got what you saw. And the question I've got is, you know, I remember talking to you, you know, prior to Family First Life starting, and you having this vision to me that was like, it made sense. I could get behind it, you know. Did you see then what you're experiencing now as far as the vision when you were first getting the company started? And how important has vision played a role as far as, you know, the company growing and taking the company to these next levels? You know,
we talked a lot, I mean, month one about being $1 billion company in 10 years, meaning we'd have $1 billion in issue paid business. Doesn't mean we were going to be netting but we would have $1 billion in issue paid premium, life and annuity. And we're actually like on track to do that. Like, we're not, I mean, are we going to do it? We're like, you're in the ballpark. We're in the same, like, we're in the base path. It's not like we're in the same, you know, zip code or state or country. It is crazy. Now, if you ask me if I saw us going there, I didn't know how we would get there, but I thought if the industry doesn't change and they don't understand, A, that producers are educated, B, they can get the information anywhere, and see people are tired of being manipulated. That was our thing year one. Like, if you come to the meet and have donuts and have us chant your name and give you a fake pin, not the program. If you came here to make some money, you come to the right place. You genuinely came here to leave here today and start making money in the next couple of days. You come to the right place. So I don't know that I would foresee it being as good as. Also, Paul, to be really honest with you, and straight up, didn't realize how good some of the people we have are. Like I knew you, but I didn't, you know, and even though when you were trying to figure out, you worked so hard. That's why I was like, he works so hard. So I had so much respect for your work ethic that even though we weren't necessarily on the same page, you're working. If you didn't work hard, I'd be like, dude, and I'm like, he's definitely going to figure it out because he's working too hard not to, you know. I didn't realize how talented you and Andrew were. I didn't realize how talented Mark was. I mean, I knew Mark, but I didn't know how talented he was. I mean, how would I didn't know that he was going to work that much and take on that many things. And I didn't realize that y'all would go out and find people like Josh Wants, like, that are that talented. And Andrew would find all the people he's kind of let. I didn't realize Trey was that. And it's not because I didn't think y'all weren't great. I didn't realize that I could do it. I mean, who am I to run $1 billion company, right? Like, you know, at least in a you know, gross number a year. So I guess I believed that I would work really hard, and I believed I would be open to getting better. I believed I would be open to what's working. I would duplicate that, and I believed that I would always put other people first. And I think that was the thing for me. You know, the people in our business that don't grow it, it's me first kind of deal, and that's why they don't grow it. You know, hey, Shawn, I want to give away the higher comp, but how much longer is it going to take for my bonus to get? Dude, we didn't make money for 4 years. You're talking to the wrong guy. You're killing it. You're netting $79,000 a month, but like netting $1 million a year. And the agents you're working with are not netting them in. Like, help them out. And the minute you start making decisions for other people, I mean, putting them first, not making them for them, putting other people first, dude, your whole life changes. And it's like, okay. And again, the concept, Paul, I had to correct somebody because they said this completely wrong. I'm like, no, I've never said that. It had to be great for the client, great for the agent, and it couldn't harm the company. It's not remotely equal. Has to be great for those two entities, has to be. And it can't harm the company. And that's hard sometimes because, you know, people have to understand, but you need to run your business the same way. So now you take your agency, and it's got to be the same concept because you are your company. Got to be great for the clients. Our agent's got to be looking out for the clients. Got to be great for the agent. And sometimes what we think is great for the agent, they don't think so at that time. We're really used to being told what we want to hear. People placate us, pat us on the head, and tell us it'll be okay. And I'm really good at telling you when it's not going to be okay. Dude, if you don't change, it's not going to be okay. And one of the things I said to Andrew that I think he got early was like, dude, you're not going to, the things I ask you to do will not make sense. It didn't make, and I've been through it already, but I promise you it'll all pan out. But it just, if you could just do what we're talking about, if it hurts you, then stop doing it. But if it doesn't, can you just allow me? I was talking to two guys the other day, and they're like, well, you're really frustrated. I said, I'm frustrated because I asked you all one thing, like one favor. And it was really a favor to the company and a favor to Shawn Meaike. It's a favor to the company. I asked you to do one thing. And all you two could think about was what's in it for you or how can, and it really was like, it literally was a win for them. It was a win for both of them. And they just can't do it because everything to them is, what about me? Like, I want to win. And I remember having that discussion with you about real estate. I'm like, dude, you can't win that big on every deal. I've done a lot of deals and a lot of, from real estate to apparel, waste management. You know, we may grow a lot of marijuana in Colorado, you know what I mean, that I invest. I'm like, whatever, man, I invest in all kinds of stuff. But everybody has to win. Right. You know, like, it's a business I don't know anything about. These guys approach me. And, you know, I was talking to a guy the other day, and how I found one was, he was like, and I just more did it because I have friends that I'm trying to help out. They found an industry. This guy's been dying for everything to be legalized. He found it. I'm just trying to help him out. But one of the things I've told him is like, dude, everybody has to win. So you're trying to hire this guy to do this, and he's really good. He wants this number. Pay him well. He wants to win. And then you win as well. You can't get hurt, but let's let all parties win, and then you'll keep having, I mean, the wins will rack up. And when the wins rack up, the money racks up. You know, and so I think for us, it's just, you know, I think, and also when I gave people that kind of comp, I expect them to be independent. So I didn't turn around and give you, make 5 points, and then babysit. Right. So when some of you, I'm like, I'm not mad at you, but, you know, Eric Schmidt said it great in New Orleans. He said, I'm looking for all the agents that I don't have to do anything with, because this is not complicated, where they're going to do it regardless of what I say. Like I give them the training, the system, they get to look at it all. They know what the leads are. They're going to do it. I'm just looking for them. A lot of us get mired with the 20 people we're working with that aren't doing it without us, and they want us to tell them what to do every minute of every day. And that's just not going to work. So I think with the high comp and with the low spread for the person giving it away, just like we did at the beginning, it was like, dude, I expect you all to be independent. I expect you to hire your own staff. If you need a lead person, get a lead person. You need a contract, because we can't give up, right? And that's why I used to tell you guys, we only have so much. We can't. We're all in this together, And I think that was the thing, because when you do things for people you don't have to do, whole world changes.
Well, dude, I think the way it's structured, when you look at like the underlying concepts of how it's put in place, I mean, it's brilliant, because now you're not even wanting. I think a lot of times when you want to micromanage somebody, it's because you feel like you owe it to them because you have such a big spread. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I got to spend all that time with that person, and then that person doesn't even look at it. It's a wrong person, and so you're wasting their time. You're getting frustrated. They're getting frustrated because they're not the right person, and you're not spending your time finding the right person that wants to be independent. And so I think the way it's structured, man, and the numbers show that it's absolutely built the way it should be built, to build something massive. And it's a beautiful thing, and I think, Shawn, when I look back and how you kind of like started the company and all the things that took place in the beginning, like with no carriers and figuring out leads and all that thing, everything that was going on, dude, like I never questioned that you weren't like confident in what you were getting after and that it was going to get done. Like, it was one of those things where if I was going to, place a massive bet, I would bet on you, and the dependability I had for you to get something done was super high. And I think a lot of times I can hold myself, and people could perceive me as being confident, but sometimes behind the scenes, I'm doubtful. I'm like, am I good enough? I don't know if I am. What if I let people down? And I battle that stuff for you. When I look at you, I've always like kind of got a source of courage and confidence from seeing how you just attack things and be steadfast in your ways. Is that something that is like you're born with, or is that something that can be developed? And how do you develop something like that?
Well, I definitely can be developed. I see people that don't handle themselves that way in business, and they change it. I think at the end of the day, and again, I kind of will tell Paul, where's that in the Bible, and quote it to me, because Paul's much better theology student than me. But it's like, I committed like 3 years ago. That's the only book I'll read anymore. I'm not, you want to read whatever you want. Most of them all sounded the same. I'm not into fictional stuff. Like, I'm just not. And the ones that were at least self-help, motivational, they all said the same. Leadership, they all said the same thing. So that's the only book I read every day. It's the only one. I won't read anything else. And there's nowhere in there. I mean, it really promotes the heck out of being courageous. Yep. You really have nothing to fear. And when you get to that point, it's like, if you're doing the right thing, the consequences are going to be what they're going to be. And that's always been kind of my deal. If we're doing the right thing, I can perseverate about the consequences, but I'm not gonna, because there's nothing I can do about them. So we're just going to go to work. And I think, and it's how, I had to survive when I was younger. So I've always done that, and then when I identified people in my life that would speak all that negative into me, I just was like, I outgrew them. And that was probably pretty angry. So I'm good until I think somebody's attacking what we do, and I get really angry and motivated, and, it's just a bad idea. Like, don't bother me, I won't bother you. I'm working, but don't mess with FFL, and I think for if you're going to be leading anybody in any capacity, it's like your kids. I mean, are there times that but you can't, they need you to be fearless and be in charge. It doesn't mean you can't talk to them about what it felt like and the whole deal, but right is right, wrong's wrong. You got to stand up. And, we went through so much at the beginning, and I was like, dude, we have to stop talking about it. Because I think we'd all come from a world where, and even our personal lives, like we spent so much time, everybody want to talk about it. Hey, you know what happened? Then it's like, dude, what did we achieve? Over the last 30 minutes, what did y'all achieve talking to each other? Nothing. Okay, let's go back to work. Like, that's kind of one of my big commitments in 21 is like, I'm going to focus on what's growing. I'm not going to try to fix people. I'm not going to try to move immovable objects. I'm not mad. Business isn't personal. Let's just go to work. I want to help you. I'm going to be passionate about wanting to help you. If that bothers you, that's not on me. because I'm always going to do it this way. So if that bothers you, fine. I'm not trying to be funny or flip it or disrespectful. I can't do it another way because you have to go make money, whether it's in the sales side or building a business. And at the end of the day, one of the things I always looked at, if we weren't growing the way we wanted to grow, the first person I looked at was me. Always. And I think you should do the same in your business. I don't care if your business is, 400 agents or 4 agents. If it's not growing the way it should be growing, you need to look in the mirror and go, what about me do I need to change? And if you do any other way, it won't grow. Year after year, you'll just be frustrated. It'll never grow because you're like, here are the reasons it's not growing, and none of them are you. It's 100% you. This is an easy business, duplicatable, requires no innate talent. It doesn't discriminate. Doesn't matter what you do or don't know. Educational experience, not. It doesn't matter. It's purely hard work and your attitude and keeping your mind right. So, Paul, I think when you, once you make an override, you give up the right to be average and ordinary. I mean, you're not some weird superhero. This isn't a movie. I mean, we've had some people that you edify them. Edify is just such an ugly word. You edify. I mean, it's like, you need to edify me to get better. It's like, dude, you need to get your ego's out of control, bro. Somebody's gonna whack that back into place. But like, have some respect for yourself, And I think we do that. We're going over the convention stuff right now for next year, and it's unfortunate because you're like, okay, well, so and so's good, but can they get other people to be good? Mm-hmm. And we owe it to everybody. This isn't some kind of seniority, oh my God, I feel so bad. Oh, he's so-and-so's cousin. Oh, I grew up with him. I don't care. We're trying to make people better. We're going to put out the best product we can. 7 cities to 1 means people are going to be left out. And it'll be and if you have any issue with that, it'll be me. I'll make this based on what I think is best for the company. Not best. I don't care. Could care less. I don't care if it's, I say it to Andrew. I couldn't talk to Andrew. I didn't know how to talk to Andrew. He's unnervingly quiet. He's unnervingly methodical. I don't know that he's doing it intentionally, but we just never connected. But he was growing like crazy. So I talked to him all the time. It wasn't easy for me to talk to, but it was one of those things where growth cures all. Volume cures all. So, it's, and I think we had some other people that were like that. And when I looked around at the beginning and thought, okay, there's Mark, and he seems pretty serious, and he ain't backing down. And Ruggiero's not backing down, and you and Andrew aren't backing down. Like a lot of day one people. I'm like, now how can I not be excited? And I don't know if Abernathy knows what he's doing or not, but he looks like he ain't backing down. I mean, hell, he played in the big leagues. He must have, he ain't going to quit in them. So it was just finding people. I knew Sizer and the staff wasn't going to back down. So it was just like, it just for us, we were able to kind of go through and go, you know what? This is what makes sense. And I was very inspired and empowered by watching other people work real hard. That really inspired me, and it makes me get better because I'm like, man, if they're not going to sleep, like we could do a trip, do a bunch of cities, and like y'all don't need any sleep. Somehow I don't need any sleep, and I think I already don't need any sleep. But rising tides raises all ships. I didn't, go negative on y'all. Oh, they need to do that because they don't have to do it all the time. Whatever. I'm just, when somebody does something good, I give them recognition for it and credit, and I don't. That whole broke thought process of hating on people when they're doing better than you is pretty ugly and disgusting. So it's and there's no place for it at Family First Life.
Dude, I got a question. And this, I've gotten a lot from you, and it's helped me out. So like when I went into the field, I was really good at not caring about the client's feelings when it came to being upfront, direct, and challenging them to get a plan in place. Because in my mind, it was, what if you didn't come home tomorrow? And I felt like it was my obligation to tell them the truth, so that way I could leave it all on the table and know that I did everything I could, and they made the decision not to get it if they didn't get it. But I knew I did everything I could, and I told them the truth. Dude, you've been so good with that in every area, whether that's, like you said, putting together the agenda, working with agents. And I think that for me, I was good in the personal production side of it, but then I didn't want to, I wanted everybody to be just like this tranquil, good feeling, like, galloping through the rose bushes in the organization, where I didn't want to offend. And that limited me for a long time until I was able to kind of flip that and say, it's the same thing with the client. It's up. It's if I care about them, I'm going to give them clarity. Clarity's kind, and I'm going to tell them the truth. How do you have that in every area? Is that something, how do you switch your mindset to really kind of see things in such a way that empowers you, encourages you to have those upfront conversations and direct, and whether that's in whatever that may be?
I think, Paul, I'd argue, I think you're hurting their feelings when you're so worried about yourself first. The idea of offending somebody is about us. It's not. There's no light that goes off in their forehead and says, "I'm offended." We have this preconceived notion that if we say A, B, and C, it's like I was a social worker I graduated college at 20, 21. I mean, like, and do what I know. But I remember a guy calling one day. He's like, "Man, you're gonna be really good." So we gotta go out in the fields like my second day, and he's asking him all these questions. He has like this clipboard, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna like kill myself." Oh my God. So I go, "Hey, do you still smoke crack?" And he's like, "What?" I go, "Do you still smoke crack? It smells like you do. There's a pipe over there. Teeth are jacked. Do you still smoke crack?" "Yeah." "When's the last time you got high?" "This morning." "Yeah." "Okay. How much you smoke a day? How many rocks? How much money does it cost you?" "This much." "How do you get?" And we taught, and so we taught. I said, "Hey, it's a treatment program. You know, your kids seem pretty darn safe. You don't smoke crack?" "No, I don't." "You're gonna do a urine to me?" "No, I do." "But you understand, I 100% get that. Listen, I'm not gonna tell you that he's gonna like lose his mind, but I'm just letting you know that this is a bad program. There's a lot of bad. It's a tough area. We don't need anybody coming in and out. Do you sell it all?" Like, so we get in the car, and the guy's like, "Well, you have to go through the check." I said, dude, you weren't having a conversation with them. You were talking at them. You could care less about them. There's no part of you cared. I cared about damn kids. I said, honestly, you're not very good at this. I've been doing it for 4 years. Like, I'm going to be your boss, I said soon. Because I'm going to get promoted in 1 year. I've been here 2 days. It takes 1 year to get promoted. And I'm going to be your boss. Because if everybody else is like you, I'm going to be your boss. Because that's bad. I treat them like I would treat my mom.
Right.
I'd want them to talk to me the way I talked to me. That was my deal. So I learned that as a social worker for 13 years. And I was good at it. I mean, did people get mad at sometimes? Sure. If they did something they weren't supposed to do and I called them out, they were pissed. But if I called them out and I helped them, they loved me. But that was, and I would even say to him, "It's not personal, dude. Like, I'm pulling for you. I'm not pulling against you." I never did they with the clients, because I knew that I was one bad decision or one other away from that. I'm not. Yeah. I don't think I'm that much better than everybody else. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I just think I'll outwork people. So I think in our business, Paul, with client, and that's what I was saying from day one. Like, dude, you're good with the clients. Can't you do the exact same thing with the agents? And the reality is we're trying to keep everything copacetic, right? And I, being in charge of, and whether your team's 10 people, being a parent, it's lonely when you do it the right way. And I think a lot of people seek out their friendships in the business before people's success. I think that's really mean. Yeah. Like, I think if I'm start working with you and I like you, and I do like you, like I talk about playing ball with you, you play ball, I can connect with you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, but if I chose that over anything I could do to help you make some money, I'd be hurting your family. Why? So I can have a new friend? And that's the thing. So we got to stop saying like, well, I don't like offending people. No, you're selfish. They're not offended. They know they need life insurance. They wouldn't have filled it out. The agents know they're not making money. If you know they're not making money, they know they're not making money. So get on board or get out of the way. Pick one. Doesn't matter to me. Just pick one. You know, it's like we had a small football coach. He would set these hitting drills up because in public high school, they tend, which is weird, basketball cuts, baseball cuts, all sports. Football don't cut. Weird. They'll carry everybody. I guess you need so many people, whatever. And I guess they figure you're probably not going to want to play it if you don't enjoy it. You'll practice, you're going to get hit. And the coach would like line us up. He'd take like 3 of us and he'd be like, all right, throw him in a hitting group. And we would beat the garbage out of him, hoping he would quit. So one day I was like, you know what? I just started finding. I was like, hey, man, let's catch something. Do you enjoy this? Like, because how would I enjoy that, Paul? I'm enjoying knocking a guy down. Who do you want to be? And I'll never forget this. The kid looked at me, and I'd asked him, and he goes, yep, I love football. I love it. And I'm like, okay, you do know what they're going to do, right? Like, I don't want to push nobody around, but if coach tells me I'm going to hit you. Like, and no offense, but you're not any good at this. You're not aggressive. You're very smart. You're probably the valedictorian or salutatorian. You're really, and you're good at what you're good at. Why are you out here? I'm good. Okay. 2 days later, I can see his face, dude. And I mean, it's terrible. I mean, I'd rather hit, I'd rather fight Mike Tyson or run into Saquon Barkley and try to then hit somebody who don't want to be hit. Right. Yeah. I'd rather deal with it and hit somebody bigger, you know what I mean, than get like we're still working on that thing, the football thing I was telling you about with the whole, with my man who plays pro football, where I'm going to put the other IMOs, he's going to have FFL jersey, he's going to run full speed. He's probably going to run me. I'm still going to tackle him, but he's a monster and he still plays. But like, I'd rather have that. And I'll never forget, he came in the locker room afterwards and he was crying. And he said to me, my father wants me to play. I hate this game. And he's crying. And I'm kind of the side. Nobody's gonna say nothing because I'm not. I would. I mean, I don't bully nobody. It's just evil. So I was like, dude, you just have to like pack it in and go do something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, what do I say to my dad? I'm like, what do you owe your dad? I said, and I'll be honest with you, and take this for what it's worth. Your dad was the same as you at this game. And he got quiet. And he goes, you're right. I go, yeah. So he's trying to live through you. I said, tell your dad to bring your equipment back tomorrow. Put him in the hitting group. I'll hit him. They ain't no problem with that. But you don't want to be here. I remember years later, it's like, hey, I really appreciate your honesty. I would have screwed up my whole fall. He ended up playing another sport, liked it. But it's like, just be honest with people. Like, dude, you ain't any good at this. What are you doing? You're going to get harmed. And I don't want to be the one to harm you. But I'm going to do what that crazy guy says because I want to play. So you're putting us all in a really bad spot. These guys want to harm you. They get off on it. You know what I mean? Because you're half their size. They like harm. Don't, like, let's, you know, I want them hitting me or this guy, not you. And I think I'll never forget just him saying, I really just appreciate your transparency, your honesty. And I think just like when you have a staff member, you know, a staff member is not any good. They're not productive. I don't mean any good. I mean any good at their job. And then you don't let them go. Guess who hates their job? The person not any good at it. So you're not hurting their feelings, or you like that they make you feel good. So they're kind of a friend and they tell you how great you are. So you keep them around. Dude, my deal was I'm the employee, you're an employee. I ain't better than you. You're not better than me. But it's going to be job over like any kind of friendship, dude. Just FYI. So we're all good. We're all what you might like. Size you might like watching this or hanging out, going to fights. I'm good. We're just not going to be, we're going to run a company first. And I think, you know, setting people free and just being direct with them, you know, I think, and that's how I think we should always do it. But you're 100% right, Paul. Doing your business what you do in the home, if you're good at it, because it's the same concept. You're not issuing 15 grand a month. You've been here 90 days. Why are you still here? You're not making any money. And again, the company would do great. We could hire 50,000 people to sell 5 to 7 grand a month, and we'd make money. Except you would never make any money.
Right. Well, dude, last question I've got is, you know, when you take a look at where Family First Life is now, I've always thought that like you always like kind of see around the corner, whereas a lot of people are just seeing to the corner. Like when we're growing and we hit what I think for me, I'm like, dude, I didn't ever imagine we were going to hit this. And then we hit it. There's another thing. Like now it's the offices, right? Mm-hmm. Like we get to this place, but you're always kind of seeing before I think most people are seeing. You're like out in front of it. How do you kind of get that vision? Because I think a lot of times when somebody comes onto Family First Life, and I've seen it, you know, I've experienced it, is like you're living in your past, whether that's failures, setbacks, struggles, and you don't really have vision of where you could go. And so your behavior is just kind of basically being replicated from what you did prior. Like how important is it to have that vision? And is there a way to kind of cultivate a vision that's seen more than you typically see, that's able to pull you into that next level of your business or next season of your career?
Yeah, I mean, the single biggest reason I think we don't ever want to be complacent is we haven't helped near as many. I mean, there's 7,000 writing agents a month. There are 1 million plus in our space contracted. Hundreds of millions of Americans that need life insurance. And the vast majority of them say I don't have any or don't have enough. So for us, the biggest thing is there's more people to help. I think the next thing really is, Paul, is that, you know, if you get stagnant, you can lose. I have a healthy paranoia. Like, I wake up every day like somebody could be trying to do what we're doing. I want to be so far ahead they can't. We know we're going to put people in a better position to win. And this is a competition. This is, you know, if I go, there's enough out there for everybody. I would agree with that. And we happen to want more of it. And I mean, if we're going to do better by the agents and everybody else, we'd like them to work here. You know what I mean? And I don't pretend that we don't. You know, integrity's one big family. Outside of there, dude, if you ain't have, like, you do what you got to do. Come over here. I mean, I think this business for so many years, it's, you know, it's really been, it's been harmful to the agent. Now there's opportunities where they don't have to worry about that. But Paul, it's raising that bar, right? Like, and I think that's why we have to do it. Like, okay, hit $1 million a month. Congratulations, go back to work. I'm not mad at you, but you look at the way the bar's been raised. I mean, we didn't do $1 million a month as a company the first year. This month, we're going to finish with 42 people at $1 million a month. The company didn't do $1 million a month in any month in the first year, not one month. And we're going to have 40 plus people that do it this month. Wow. Well, last month April. So, I mean, but you have to, you can't get complacent. because it ain't about you. People that get complacent, it's about them.
Yeah.
I have what I want. Cool. My goal was 1,000, 1,500, whatever it was, 400. And my goal was to make X amount of dollars a year. And I'm doing that. I'm not going to do it anymore. But here's the problem. You stop doing that, watch how fast it goes away. And if you start doing it only for you, you know, Pastor Matthew says, you know, we saved the Dream Center, which obviously we did not save the Dream Center. Not that he's lying. He's just trying to be really respectful.
Right, yeah.
But he saved us, and he saved me. You know, when I met him 3 years ago, I was lost about what's the bigger picture? And I knew we were giving money back. We had just started making money. But then it was like, dude, we're going to give millions away a year. Like, I was like, we're going to give millions. And then we're going to get to the point where we give tens of millions of dollars away a year. Like, we're going to give away so much money, it's going to be crazy. And when you give and it hurts, it works. And the first check we gave him, 25 grand back then?
Yeah.
Dude, it might as well have been $1 million. I'm just being honest, like, you know, I mean, to the point where the staff was like, are you sure? Not being disrespectful, but like 25,000 or 2,500. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, no, 25,000. And then, boom, it led us to Paradise. I'm watching and lead us there. Boom, another 25, 50, 7,500 of them. And then that December comes, I give another 100 to Pastor Matthew out of our money, out of the Family First Life money, right? And then other people started getting on board and donating money within the company. And it was like he brought this spirit to us because he was such a hard worker and so selfless. And you know, we were posting out about the shoes, 10,000 pairs of shoes. One of these guys, I was a wreck. He's like, my Sunday sales, I'm going to go to buying shoes. I'm just like, dude, like, and I'm not asking anybody. I just want you to help in whatever way you choose to help. I'm a big fan of giving back, even if it's real tight. But you got to do what you got to do. I would take the top 10 people that make the most money at the company, and I would tell you that, you know, I mean, building a business, because selling, you can only sell forever. I mean, you can only sell for so long. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you could sell forever, but I'm just saying if you're not selling, there's no business. And just like if your staff if the office doesn't work the way that it works when you're there, you have no business. You know, it has to be able to move and function without you being present and micromanaging people. Those that can't manage tend to micromanage. But I would take the people who make the most money in those businesses and go, most of them have a heart for giving back.
Yep.
You know? And so I appreciate letting me get on, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Hey, guys, I hope this served you well. I mean, I took a lot of things from it with Shawn. I appreciate you hopping on. Let's go out there and make this a massive week. Be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.